Right now at 6, a crash on I-44 causes gallons of fuel to spill across the highway.
Now we've got a cool start to the day, a few clouds here and there, and then we're going to be warm, and then we might even get a little bit of rain, and it's going to be windy. We'll go over all that with you in just a couple of seconds.
Plus, we'll see how to enjoy nature and the outdoors even during the winter months.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is Monday, December the 30th. My brain is still in long weekend mode at this point. But the holidays, it just messes, it messes everything up.
Right. And a weekend sandwich between two big holidays, it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Where am I?
Yeah,
Too much
that was
sugar.
my exact question just a few seconds ago. Where am I right now?
Yeah.
What am I doing? So just bear with this. We got to get through this. But once we get past the holidays, which I love the holidays, I'm just saying, once we get past them, we're back to normal routine. Hopefully it'll be a little more here on Earth, but I realize after I say certain things that it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's not necessarily wrong.
You're just now realizing that at the end of the year, Chris?
I'm talking just right now. It's worse than usual. Worse than usual. Quick look outside, though. Our camera downtown Pittsburgh. I'm really glad there's text on all of these graphics to tell me what it is we're looking at, because there are days I would not know. Looking pretty good, though. 7th and Range Line, our camera down there, also looking good. We'll switch gears to the MoDOT camera just south of that at 20th and Range Line. And we're looking good so far as well. On to the future. See, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what's going on this morning. On to the fog tracker. That's why it has its name up here. We do still have some denser fog across parts of northeastern Oklahoma, so around the Grand Lake area, Ottawa, Delaware, parts of eastern, and then far western Craig County, and then far southwestern Newada County, and into a good portion of Washington County. And there's still some patchy light fog outside of that, but the densest fog confined to northeastern Oklahoma this morning. Now, the future track. I knew it was in here somewhere. It's going to be windy. All right, and it's going to be warm, and you want to enjoy this warm weather while you can, because after today, it's gone, and it will not be coming back for quite some time. We'll have partly to mostly cloudy skies. We'll have opportunities for some drizzle, maybe a couple of isolated showers out there. Really not much in terms of precipitation, but the wind is going to be the big issue here. It'll be out of the west, gusting anywhere from 35 to 40 miles an hour. So if you're traveling on any north-south highways, do keep that in mind today. 42 in Joplin right now, sitting at 39 in Pittsburgh. Temperatures, they're cool, but it could be a lot colder, and it's about to get a lot colder. We'll talk about that a little later. Upper 30s, low 40s to start. Keep those numbers in mind, too, because we're not going to see those for a while as we head into the next week or so. Well, again, clear skies to start, maybe a few clouds, some isolated showers or drizzle, fairly low chances, but they're there. Clouds increasing through the afternoon and evening, and highs today, upper 50s, maybe even a couple of low 60s. As I mentioned, it's going to get chilly heading into the new year. Pretty darn cold, about seasonable. And then next week, we're watching an Arctic blast that will really shake things up. Details on all of that here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll see you soon, Chris. Thanks. Authorities in Miami, Oklahoma have released information regarding an officer-involved shooting that occurred Friday night. Now, according to authorities, 2 separate 911 calls came in at around 4 p.m. Reports of an armed male subject under the influence attempting to break into an apartment at a complex on C Street. Officers arrived on scene and made contact in the apartment complex with a male subject who was reportedly carrying a weapon. According to Interim Police Chief Todd Hicks, it is believed the subject appeared to be under the influence of narcotics and failed to respond to the officer's repeated commands. Shots were fired and the subject was injured. The subject was transported to the emergency room of Integris Hospital and later succumbed to his injuries. The crash on Sunday evening closes a section of I-44. Tractor trailer struck a barrier on the east side of the overpass on exit 6, then traveled across the bridge, spilling fuel and crashing off the right side of the road. Now, firefighters worked quickly to plug the fuel leak, and absorbent materials were laid as diesel fuel is very slick. Now, traffic was diverted for a short time and the driver was not injured and remained on the scene. You can watch for updates on our website. Of course, that's KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, Pittsburgh police and fire responded to reports of a car accident on the corner of Elm and Jefferson. Authorities tell us the vehicle struck a fire hydrant and a residential porch. Now, on scene, witnesses say allegedly a black sedan traveling southbound on Elm failed to stop, hitting a westbound white pickup truck. The truck then veered off the road and ran into the porch of a house on the southwest side of the intersection. One man has been transported to the hospital after a plane crash south of Parsons, Kansas. The pilot of the plane was transported to Kansas City from Labette County Health. 26-year-old Michael Ribordy was landing on an airstrip of private property when he clipped electric lines and nosed into the ground. Ribordy was transported to the hospital with critical injuries. A GoFundMe has been created for his family, which include his wife and young child. So far, nearly $19,000 have been raised. If you would like to donate, you can find a link to the GoFundMe on our website. And now you can stay up to date with the latest news, weather, and sports with the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. It's available on Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV Plus, and Roku. The player is also available on our news and weather apps as well as our website. Watch live streaming anytime, absolutely free. The KOAM Plus TV streaming app. Well, the Kansas Highway Patrol released its annual Christmas traffic crash report. Troopers reported one fatal non-DUI crash over the holiday and no fatal DUI crashes. KHP also reported 7 DUI arrests and 227 speeding citations. The number reflects a 30-hour counting period from 6 p.m. on Christmas Eve to 11:59 on Christmas night. Last year, troopers reported 4 fatal non-DUI crashes over a similar time period. Well, Kansas will be joining 12 other states as a part of the IRS Direct File program. The program lets taxpayers file their federal income tax return directly with the IRS for free. The program kicked off last year with 12 states participating. Kansas is a part of the 12 additional states that will be joining this year. According to experts, staying inside all winter can bring out negative effects like boredom and restlessness. And one of the best ways to combat that is by exploring what nature has to offer. KOAM's Mitch Adams has more.
Because as the temperature gets colder, we're typically inside a structure more often, and that's where the name cabin fever comes from. It's just that idea of being in a structure. Now, these days it's not necessarily a cabin per se, but it's that just being inside of a structure because it's cold outside, you don't necessarily want to leave at all, and so that's where it kind of comes from.
Although there hasn't been much for snow around the 4 states, the air is getting chillier and chillier. It may sound nice to stay inside all winter, but what comes along with that? Cabin fever is a term used to describe the feelings of isolation and restlessness associated with staying indoors for a long period of time. One of the best ways to prevent cabin fever?
Get outside in nature. It can be as simple as going to a park and sitting on a bench for a really nice, beautiful day. One of those days that we have a little bit more sun, even if you're bundled up, even the cold temperatures can still be enjoyable if you prepare.
The winter season in our area offers a chance to see unique species as well.
We get some species of birds that are only here during the winter time. Things like dark-eyed juncos, which some people actually call snowbirds, can only be seen in our southern part of Missouri during this winter, and even parts of Kansas, all the way down in Arkansas and some more southern states.
But if the weather is simply too cold for you to enjoy, there are still other ways to engage.
It could be something as simple as hanging new bird feeders right outside your window and getting to see the interaction of birds in that way or other wildlife. There are lots of ways to beat cabin fever, but the big idea is get outside, encourage nature to be more viewing area near your own home and having that opportunity to see what's going on outdoors.
In Joplin, Missouri, Mitch Adams, KOAM News.
Well, short-eared owls are another bird that migrate in the winter and can be spotted in Missouri. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes, coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Well, Big Lots strikes a deal to keep its hundreds of stores open and save hundreds of jobs. Plus, former President Jimmy Carter died yesterday at the age of 100. And Chris Warner returns with another look at your Monday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Well, topping Nation Watch this morning. Big Lots says it has struck a deal that would keep hundreds of stores open. Big Lots recently announced it was preparing to close its remaining 963 stores after a previous deal fell through. But on Friday, the discount chain announced a new deal with another buyer. Under the proposed agreement, all of Big Lots assets, including stores and distribution centers, will be sold to other retailers and companies. Now, one of those companies is Variety Wholesalers, which will acquire at least 200 stores and 2 distribution centers. Variety Wholesalers says the stores will operate under the Big Lots brand, and it may employ the employees that work there. Well, Congress stripped the IRS of an additional $20 billion last week when averting the government shutdown. Originally, congressional Democrats had given the IRS $80 billion in the 2022 Inflation Reduction Act. But in the 2023 budget deal, Congress revoked $20 billion of that. And after the government shutdown fight last week, another $20 billion was clawed back. Now, that's half the amount the Biden administration intended to help improve the tax agency. Biden administration officials said the cuts would add $140 billion to the national debt over the next decade by hampering the agency's ability to catch wealthy tax cheats. Well, this morning, millions around the country are pausing to remember the life of the nation's 39th president, Jimmy Carter. Carter died yesterday at the age of 100, surrounded by his loved ones at his home in Plains, Georgia, after battling cancer and other health setbacks. Nicole Valdez is in Atlanta with a look at how Americans are honoring his life and legacy.
A nation in mourning as tributes pour in to honor former President Jimmy Carter.
It's a really sad thing. It's a loss. It is a loss.
In Washington, D.C., visitors reflected on Carter's legacy as a man who rose from humble beginnings on a peanut farm in Plains, Georgia, to become a Navy officer, Georgia governor, one-term president, Nobel laureate, and longtime volunteer with Habitat for Humanity.
He was the first president I voted for that won. I think he was someone who tried to do good things for this country.
Flags were lowered to half staff at the White House and the U.S. Capitol. Just outside the city, there was a moment of silence before the Sunday night football game between the Washington Commanders and the Atlanta Falcons. New York's Empire State Building lit up in red, white, and blue. A makeshift memorial of flowers and messages to former President Carter is growing at the Carter Center in Atlanta. One note read simply, "We love you, President Carter." Last night, President Joe Biden called Carter a remarkable leader, humanitarian, and dear friend.
Some look at Jimmy Carter and see a man of a bygone era with honesty and character, faith and humility. It mattered. But I don't believe it's a bygone era. I see a man not only of our times, but for all times.
The Carter Center says public memorial services will also be held in Atlanta, all before Carter is laid to rest near his home, next to his beloved wife, Rosalind. Nicole Valdez, CBS News, Atlanta.
The former U.S. presidents have also commented on former President Carter's passing. President-elect Donald Trump said Carter, quote, did everything in his power to improve the lives of all Americans. And for that, we all owe him a debt of gratitude. Former President George W. Bush noted that Carter dignified the office, and while former President Barack Obama said he taught all of us what it means to live a life of grace, dignity, justice, and service. And that's a look at some of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we're looking pretty good so far. Skywatch Storm Tracker, just a few clouds out there right now, but you look off to the north and west and got some showers. We got a few more clouds. Not much in terms of rain today, but at least some possible. Another full look at your forecast when we come back.
A worker in Olathe, Kansas saw bikes being dumped in the trash, so he organized a way to fix them up. And he even took it a step further, giving them away to kids. Krista Tatchell spoke with him about the effort to get children on wheels.
Every kid that wants a bike should have a bike. People don't know exactly what to do with the ones that aren't being used anymore.
But Brian Ottenschneider of Olathe did. He gathered about 250 old bikes that were rescued from the trash, those that still had miles left in them.
These are a few examples of bicycles that have been brought into the transfer station.
He then took them to the bike repair shop inside the Lansing Correctional Facility. Inmates fixed up what was broken. Brian picked up the first 50 bikes last week and trucked them into a local elementary school.
Buying a bike for your kid at one of the big box stores like behind me, it can cost you on the low end anywhere from $70 all the way up to over $600 for a brand new bike. Brian says he just wants to get these bikes rebuilt and give them to kids for free.
Their biggest concern is the safety of the bicycle for the kids. It serves a good purpose, and if we can get anything out of the trash, it can be reused. That's ideal.
Brian says he hopes to be able to organize a bike collection drive during each October going forward. Now let's check in with Chris for a quick look at the forecast.
Yeah, we've got ourselves a pretty decent start to the day. A little bit on the cool side, a few clouds. We'll have increasing clouds, increasing winds, and maybe even a little drizzle. Details when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 6:23 now on this Monday morning. We're going to start the fog tracker. Again, we've got some slightly denser fog across most of northeastern Oklahoma right now, and the denser fog across parts of southern Nowata counties and into Washington County. So if you are traveling, do keep that in mind. But we do have some patchy, just light fog here and there across the area. But again, the denser fog right now still confined primarily into northeastern Oklahoma. Let's talk about today. It's going to be windy, it's going to be warm, and you will want to do everything you can to take in these temperatures, because this is the last time that we are going to see these numbers on this graphic for a while. All right, we're going to get pretty darn chilly. We got cloudy skies out there. We're going to be pretty decent to start the day. Then we're going to start to see clouds increasing. Isolated shower to maybe some drizzle here or there as we head through the afternoon and into the evening, and a mix of partly to mostly cloudy skies. Then as we go overnight, clouds will increase and we will be just straight up cloudy. The winds that we're going to see today will last today, tonight, and at least into tomorrow. A little cooler to start our Tuesday, much cooler. Temperatures not really moving at all on Tuesday. Start to see some clearing though by the afternoon from west to east. The clouds will clear out. And of course, without the clouds, means it'll be colder tomorrow night. So we're going to start New Year's Day into the 20s. So if you are celebrating, hopefully responsibly tomorrow night, be prepared to bundle up because it's going to get cold out there. And the first day of the new year, yeah, take a look at noon. Upper 30s for most of us. We'll eventually make the low 40s, but that's about as best as we're going to muster. Then we got to talk about something else that's going to happen in the next about 7 to 10 days if everything holds. Right now in Joplin, skies are clear. It's 42, feels like 37 with an east-southeast breeze at 8. Temperatures, if you looked up just a moment ago, the spiral, that's that low pressure system way to our west. It's going to track this direction, and that's why it's going to get really windy. Winds will really start to increase as we go through the morning. We're into the upper 30s and low 40s across the area, and as we go through the morning, again, most of us should start relatively clear, at most maybe partly cloudy, eventually into the mid-50s by 11 a.m. Ahead of highs today, again, upper 50s, maybe even a couple of low 60s. Clouds increasing, slight chance of some drizzle, maybe an isolated shower too. West winds gusting 35 to 40 miles an hour. That'll continue into tonight. West winds continuing to gust out there. Lows back into the upper 30s. The rain comes to an end, and what limited rain there is will come to an end by about 8, 9 o'clock, and then we are just cloudy overnight tonight. After that, we're chilly. Temperatures into the 40s, maybe even some upper 30s by Friday. That is going to feel pleasant compared to what could happen next week, and the long-range data seems to suggest it is extraordinarily likely. We're looking at an Arctic blast next week, a polar vortex, about 7 to 10 days from right now. And if it holds, we're talking temperatures dropping even lower than this potentially as we head into next week and maybe even lasting into the week after. So we're talking dangerous, potentially deadly cold weather if you are outside. We'll watch the rain chances, see if it holds as rain or if it decides to turn into something else like snow, for example, but still several days out. But the big thing is the temperature drop. Our average lows should be in the 20s, and by next week, everything seems to agree that we're looking at an extended period of highs in the low 20s, lows in the single digits, and maybe even points in between where it will be even colder than that, not to mention wind chills. So it's something we'll watch, something we'll keep you updated on, something you definitely want to plan for as we head into next week and potentially the week after that as well. Let's check your forecast. Let's toss it over to Elise now, who's got Health Watch.
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, a new study from Northwestern University finds sleeping fewer than 7 hours a night while pregnant and up to 7 years later can increase the mother's risk of developing metabolic syndrome. The syndrome, which can include hypertension and obesity, is associated with cardiovascular mortality. The research finds Black women were more than twice as likely to get less sleep during pregnancy and almost 2 times as likely to not sleep enough after delivery. An investigation by a research team at Mass General Brigham finds less than 10% of Medicare Advantage dental plans meet quality standards. Medicare Advantage is the privatized form of Medicare that offers additional benefits. The researchers defined quality dental care as what would be similar to employer-sponsored plans, such as offering cleanings without a copay and annual maximum coverage of at least $1,500. And a new study finds state restrictions on flavored e-cigarettes for young adults are associated with reduced vaping, but may be leading to increased cigarette smoking among young people. The research finds an approximately 80% reduction in daily vaping in the states that restrict sales to young adults and a more than 20% increase in daily smoking. Now to look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 6:30, some Missouri residents teamed up to help homeless residents prepare for the cold winter weather.
And it's chilly today, colder weather on the way, but we'll talk about that forecast first to get you out the door. Coming up.
Plus, some families brave the chilly weather for a day of exciting winter activities in Fort Scott.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:31. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It's Monday, December the 30th. Of course, tomorrow, we've talked about it for like a month, but it doesn't even feel like we've talked about it for a month. Tomorrow, we get ready to ring in the new year.
Yes, we do.
It's
flown by.
It really has. I don't know about anybody else. I plan on sleeping.
Right there with you. You know what? Don't do your weather. It's a Monday.
And I was worried about silly things I say.
Just go do your weather.
Oh, God. She'll be sleeping.
We have to get up so early.
I know. That's the thing. Even if we...
no.
I know what you mean. I know the folks at home know what you mean. Hopefully, my wife knows what you mean. Your boyfriend knows what you mean. It's 6:30 in the morning.
It's 6:30 in the morning.
All right. The coffee only goes so far. But, hey, either way, if you are celebrating, A, do it responsibly, and B, be prepared for it to be cold. We'll tell you about that here in just a couple minutes. Let's look outside with our camera in downtown Pittsburgh. Oh boy, what a start to a Monday. We're looking pretty good. You can see a little daylight out there, a few clouds here and there. We have some light fog around the area as well. Some light fog in our brains this morning as well. Looking good from see, that's what I'm saying. Our camera at 7th and Rangeline. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline also looking pretty good this morning. Dry to start, but that will eventually change. And we do have, again, some light fog mainly into the southern half of our area with slightly denser fog into northeastern Oklahoma. So do keep that in mind as you're traveling. On to the future track we go. Low pressure system. It's right about here near Eureka. We'll continue to lift up to our north and it'll bring us very gusty winds, nice warm temperatures for today, and an opportunity for an isolated shower to maybe some light drizzle here or there before it starts to push on off to our east, and then our temperatures start to get chilly. 42 in Joplin right now. 39 in Pittsburgh. Something else to keep in mind. Those temperatures, that's about as warm as we're going to be as we head into tomorrow. Just a heads up on that. Right now across the region, though, upper 30s and low 40s as we start our Monday morning. We're looking at highs, upper 50s, low 60s for some. Enjoy it because it will go away tomorrow, and we're not going to see numbers like this for a while. We got those isolated showers and increasing clouds into the evening. West winds gusting anywhere from 35, maybe even up to 40 miles an hour. So do be cautious with that as well. We've got that Arctic blast on the way, and I'm not talking about cold temperatures tomorrow. We're talking very cold temperatures next week. Details here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks. Authorities in Cherryville, Kansas want to make a stretch of roadway a much safer place, and they're asking the public for help. The Cherryville Police Department is urging residents to take a 10-minute survey to address the growing number of accidents on US 169. Now, the initiative focuses on protecting young drivers, children, as well as the entire community. Now, we provided a convenient link to the survey at our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, families bundled up for some cool fun in Fort Scott Saturday night. The Glide, the synthetic ice skating rink, brought out skaters of all ages. Now, for some fans, skating is their favorite thing, regardless of skill level.
A lot harder than roller skating. To me, it's easier. Yeah.
Elaborate.
I can't roller skate. You can't. Wait, what about with blades? With blades, yeah, but I'm really struggling at ice skating.
January 5th is the last day to Glide is open for the holiday season. Well, Huckleberry Ridge Airsoft outside of Pineville, Missouri was put on an event known as the Mechanized Second Strike Saturday. Unlike traditional airsoft games, teams can use smaller versions of vehicles that resemble a tank or UTV. The day started with a game known as Conquest, where teams compete for various control points throughout the field of play.
What's important about this event to me is the fact that we're integrating vehicles. Most of the time at an airsoft game, it's a bunch of guys running around with a bunch of other guys on the other team. This integrates a different level to it. You got the vehicles, you got to run away from them, working together with them. Just adds a different layer.
Well, the event was completely free for those who participated. Well, some Southwest Missouri residents have teamed up to give hot dogs, coats, and blankets to Joplin residents in an event called Jesus Dogs. The goal of the event is to help tackle some issues poor and homeless area residents may face in the wintertime. The event also had music for people to come out and bring lawn chairs to and enjoy each other's company.
I realize that people are lonely and people are hurting, and Friday nights is a sad night for a lot of people, and to be able to just be around people and say, hey, you don't have to be alone, you don't have to be hurting, you can come and we can fulfill a need for at least a time being, but a temporal need, but hopefully a spiritual need that's long lasting.
All clothing is donated from community members. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Gardner's Candies is recalling its cappuccino melt-away bars because they may contain undeclared cashews. And we have a warm and partly cloudy day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. And Consumer Watch this morning. The wine bar and kitchen in Kansas City is now offering people the taste of Hanukkah. Ryan Gamboa reports.
At the Tannin Wine Bar and Kitchen in Kansas City's Crossroad District, Chef Brian and his team are serving up Hanukkah-inspired dinners to celebrate the Jewish holiday.
I am a nice Jewish boy who grew up in Overland Park.
In Chef Brian Aaron's kitchen, he's serving
6 hours, slow braised, brisket.
The flavors of Jewish culture.
These are me kind of playing with a lot of the traditional items that we've had growing up.
On the menu, Jewish staples, matzo ball soup, potato latke, also known as potato pancakes, and babka bread pudding. He's putting a chef-crafted twist on traditional dishes.
If I'm in the mood for it, so is everybody else.
There you are.
Jerry Rivera is expanding his palate.
It's just a new experience for me with food, different food I have not had.
Rivera's indulgence is more than a meal. It's a glimpse into centuries of tradition. Matzo ball soup is a symbol of the bread eaten during the Jewish Exodus.
You could do some more in between.
And the oil used to fry latkes sits at the heart of the Hanukkah story. When relighting the Jerusalem temple's menorah only had enough oil for a day. A miracle, it held light for 8.
Every culture, whether it's a nation or religion, has their own food, and I think understanding their food helps you to understand their culture.
While Chef Brian's legacy is in the kitchen, his culture's is in the food.
That's the whole point, always telling a story with food.
Well, the winner of Friday's big $1.2 billion Mega Millions drawing hasn't come forward yet. The single winning ticket was sold at this Circle K store in Cottonwood, California. The owner told reporters he's excited for the winner. The store also gets a $1 million bonus for selling the winning ticket. A 2-second prize tickets worth more than $787,000 each were also sold in California. Gardner's Candies is recalling 1.25 ounce packages of its cappuccino melt-away bars because they may contain undeclared cashews. Now, this could cause a life-threatening reaction for people with allergies or severe sensitivity to tree nuts. Now, so far, the FDA says no illnesses have been reported, and consumers are urged to contact the company for a replacement product. And Sonic the Hedgehog 3 topped the weekend box office again, bringing in an estimated $38 million domestically. Mufasa the Lion King roared to the #2 spot, earning just over $37 million, and horror remake Nosferatu was third with more than $21 million. That's it for Consumer Watch. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Yeah, we got a few clouds out there to start our day. We also have some fog across parts of northeastern Oklahoma. First, live look from our camera downtown Pittsburgh, something we haven't seen in, it seems like, a very long time. Daylight. We got some sun yesterday, and that was nice to see because, boy, those cloudy days just kind of drag you down. They make you feel a lot more tired. Yesterday, it was like 2 o'clock. I was ready for bed because it'd been so cloudy for so long. Our camera 7th and range line looking pretty good as well. In fact, if you look close enough, you can even see a little star out there. And from the MoDOT camera, 20th and range line dropping, looking back to the south, looking good so far. Again, some patchy fog across the area, mainly in the southern half of our area, with the densest fog still primarily into northeastern Oklahoma. So if you're traveling, do be aware of that. Low beams, not your high beams. And remember, it's better to be a few minutes late than not arrive at all. Low pressure system, it's off to our west now. It will continue to lift off to the north and east. And as it passes through, could bring us an isolated shower to maybe some drizzle out there. And it's also going to bring us very gusty winds. They'll be out of the west, pushing anywhere from about 35 to 40 miles an hour. Through the day will be partly to mostly cloudy, and then clouds will increase as we head overnight tonight. Well, from there, look at your forecast. Talk about that Arctic blast that's very likely on the way in about the next 7 to 10 days. And of course, we're going to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries. But first, here's what's happening on CBS Mornings.
I'm Dana Jacobson. Coming up on CBS Mornings, it's Beg Knows America, and David grants a wish for one of our viewers. Plus, James Brown to CBS Sports will be here to recap a busy weekend of NFL football. It's all coming up on CBS Mornings.
All right, time for some Monday birthdays in the 4 states, and we're going to start with Montgomery Pryor celebrating birthday number 3. Happy birthday.
Also celebrating their 3rd birthday today over in Chanute is Creed Thompson. Happy birthday.
And in Mound Valley, we have Rhett Jacob Thompson celebrating birthday number 8 with love from Mimi and Papa.
And happy 8th birthday to Kendall Randall in Pittsburgh.
And then a very special birthday. It's dad and daughter sharing their birthday. So we have Taylor and Nick Johnston turning 10 and 43 over in Oswego. Tell me, what a special way to celebrate your birthday.
Absolutely. And a happy 15th birthday to Grace Eshelman in Columbus. It says here, happy birthday from your family, friends, and farm animals. You got to remember them too.
Absolutely. And we head over to Iola for Brooklyn Whitcomb celebrating birthday number 33. It says happy birthday from mom and dad.
And a happy 65th birthday to Jean Cronky.
And in Chanute, Jan Brookshire celebrating birthday number 70. Happy birthday, Jan.
And happy 78th birthday to Lenny Harvey in Buffalo.
And then we go back to Columbus for Paul and Lindsay Morris celebrating their 8th year of wedded bliss. A very happy anniversary to the Morrises.
And in Carterville, a happy birthday to Sarah Linkford.
And we've also got our very own John Hout celebrating another year wiser. John's our national sales manager here at KOAM, and something interesting, when I first started in broadcasting at a competing station in town, his son was doing the graphics and was the one who trained me on that job, and that was 20 years ago.
How about that?
Yeah,
Pretty
almost
cool.
21 years ago. So very happy birthday
Yes.
to you, John.
Absolutely. And continuing our list over in Columbus, a happy 82nd birthday to Ruth Hall.
And last but certainly not least, Cheyenne Sightlets celebrating another year wiser as well. Now, that is a great list of birthdays and anniversaries. We want every list to be like that. We say that all the time, and we really mean it. And if you want to celebrate with us, Elise, what should they be doing right now?
Yes, go ahead and submit those birthdays and those anniversaries to birthdays@koamnewsnow.com. When submitting, be sure to include the date of your celebration, include all those wonderful photos and messages, and to meet the deadline that you see there at the bottom of your screen.
All of that very essential information, and we do enjoy celebrating with you. You will not enjoy some of the news I have to give in terms of weather. All right, I don't control it, guys. I just tell you what's expected, okay? Here's what we're looking at right now, though. We do have some patchy fog, primarily in the southern half of our area, with some of the denser fog confined into northeastern Oklahoma. So if you are traveling, you know the drill. Low beams, not your high beams. Fog lights if you've got them. And it's better to be a few minutes late to wherever it is you're going than not get there at all. Once that clears out, we're actually going to be looking at mostly clear to partly cloudy skies through the morning. Clouds will begin to increase as we head into the afternoon as a low pressure system approaches from the west, and that will bring us an opportunity for a couple isolated showers, maybe some drizzle here and there. It will also make us very windy, and it will give us one more warm day before it starts to get cold, and then by next week, downright cold. So here we are at 5 o'clock again. Some isolated showers here and there, and those wind arrows out of the west, they are going to be gusting anywhere from 35 to potentially 40 miles an hour. Great view from our camera, 7th and range line. Few clouds, 42. In Joplin, feeling like 37, and across the area, temperatures not bad at all. Could be a lot colder, and boy, it is going to get a lot colder before too much longer. So we got upper 30s and low 40s. Even this you may want to relish in as much as you can, because it's just going to get cold. I can't really put it any other way. It's going to get very cold. Now for today, though, it's going to be nice. Again, mostly clear, maybe some partly cloudy skies through the morning, mid-50s by 11 o'clock. We're looking at highs today going into the upper 50s, maybe even some low 60s. Those west winds very gusty, and again, an isolated shower or two. Into tonight, any of the limited rain that's out there should wrap up by about 8, 9 o'clock, leaving us cloudy and windy still overnight. West winds still gusting down into the upper 30s for our lows. Then we get beyond that. New Year's Eve day, 44. New Year's Day, 42. It gets chilly, as you can see, but then you see what's behind me. And we get into next week. We'll keep an eye on these rain chances, because take a look at the temperatures surrounding these rain chances, especially the lows. We'll see exactly how that pans out as we head into the weekend. And then next week, it's a high of 28 next Wednesday. Ahead of that, a low of 15. We got a polar vortex, and the last time we really had a big polar vortex was about 4 years ago in January of 2020. Remember the rolling blackouts, the snow, the gusty winds, the very frigid temperatures? That's what we're looking at about 7 to 10 days from now. The data is pretty consistent. We're talking a dangerous and potentially deadly blast of Arctic air that could last about a week or two. And we're talking highs into the 20s, lows in the single digits, could even have some days colder than that with wind chills below zero, well below zero. So we're going to keep an eye on that. We'll keep you updated as we get closer, but just a heads up, it could be getting dangerously cold in about a week, week and a half from now. Well, that's a quick check of your forecast there. We'll have more on your weather, one more recap, plus the news you need to know in just a moment. And when we transition to Fox 14 at 7 a.m., one Arizona woman was able to reunite with her birth mom just in time for Christmas.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. 26-year-old Michael Ribberty was transported to an area hospital after his plane crashed south of Parsons, Kansas. Ribberty was landing on an airstrip on private property when he clipped electric lines and nosed into the ground. Liberty was transported to the hospital with critical injuries. Pittsburgh police and fire responded to reports of a car accident on the corner of Elm and Jefferson. A black sedan traveling southbound on Elm failed to stop, hitting a westbound white pickup truck. The truck then veered off-road, hit a fire hydrant, and then ran into the porch of a house on the southwest side of the intersection. Former President Jimmy Carter has died at the age of 100. He had spent more than a year in hospice care, and the Georgia peanut farmer served one turbulent term in the White House after his election in 1976. While in office, Mr. Carter built a reputation as a global humanitarian and champion of democracy. The Carter Center said the former president died Sunday afternoon in Plains, Georgia. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And as you head out the door, get some patchy fog out there, especially in our southern counties. Today, enjoy this warm weather because this is the end of it for a while. Upper 50s, maybe some low 60s, increasing clouds, a few isolated showers, maybe some drizzle, winds out of the west gusting 35 to 40. Gusty winds continue tonight. The isolated showers end by 8 or 9. Will be cloudy and back into the upper 30s. We're going to be cooler as we head into 2025. New Year's Eve only into the low 40s, and then New Year's Day, low 40s again. And then we're still watching for that Arctic air to arrive about 7 to 10 days from now, so something to keep an eye on.
Well, coming up today at noon, we're making cheesy crab poppers in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. Coming up, John Dickerson reflects on former President Jimmy Carter's legacy of service and revisits an interview he did with Carter in 2018 at a Habitat for Humanity site.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, we'll learn how you can help your pets when it comes to loud New Year's Eve celebrations.
Plus, Body and Soul Transformation joining us in the studio to invite us to a birthday bash to kick off the new year. However, it's going to wrap it up for us for now. We'll be back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.